Sri Lanka is facing its worst economic crisis since its independence, but its reporting in the international media has often misrepresented the actual situation. When the economic crisis became apparent in the country, many international media organizations were quick to connect it to the conflict in Ukraine, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the Chinese debt trap, while glossing over decades of economic mismanagement, revealing a lack of understanding of Sri Lankan economy and politics. Several international media organizations described the 9 May attacks by government supporters against peaceful protesters as clashes, creating a false equivalence and undermining the role of the police during the assault. There was much outrage on social media when a former MP and a member of the opposition party was addressed as the opposition leader by NDTV, grossly misrepresenting the politics of Sri Lanka. It is not only the vocabulary that is misleading, but also the visual imagery that is being used while reporting. New York Times and Viceful News were criticized for cherry-picking photos that showed the protests were violent and unruly, mischaracterizing the largely peaceful citizen-led movement. In response, some photographers from Sri Lanka took to social media to share photos that highlighted the true nature of the protests. Media critics blamed this misrepresentation on the prevalent model in international media's coverage of the Global South that still relies on parachute reporters and often treats local journalists as translators or fixers. Such cases of parachute journalism lack nuance, mislead the audience, and impact news organizations' credibility. Media coverage of Sri Lanka's economic crisis has put a spotlight on the changing media landscape too, showing the questionable relevance and credibility of the international media, when most reliable news and analysis of new developments come from local journalists, experts, and activists. The limits of parachute journalism are apparent in recent international coverage of Sri Lanka. It is a powerful reminder that despite the narratives of crisis in the media ecosystem, there is indeed demand for journalistic work that is grounded, verified, substantiated, and drawn from multiple sources.